Hey everybody, what's up? How's it going? Hold up, this is graduation, right? Is this graduation? Was it hard getting here? Graduates, was it hard getting here? I want you to think about all the sacrifices you made. I want you to think about all the times that you stayed home to study instead of going out. Families, I want you to think about all the sacrifices you made. So when I ask you one more time, how's it going? I really want to hear it. I really want to hear it. Let's hear it one more time. How's it going, class of 2026?
Bienvenidos todos, gracias por venir a apoyar todos los estudiantes que están aquí.
Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming here and supporting our graduates.
We just want to quickly introduce ourselves. My name is Juliana. I am the Outreach and Retention Specialist here at College of Alameda. I am also a co-chair of this year's Raíces graduation. Gracias, me llamo Juliana. Aquí ayudo a los estudiantes, los que van a venir de high school, los que quieren venir para atrás a la escuela. Aquí estoy ayudándolos y también ayudé a hacer la graduación de Raíces.
Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Juan G. Berumen. I am the Latinx Student Success Coordinator at Latino College. Gracias todos por venir. Me llamo Juan Berumen. Soy el coordinador Latinx Student Success en Latino College. Gracias.
This is our 7th year doing Raíces graduation. 7 years of celebrating all of our students that come through our Peralta Colleges. Our first Raíces graduation was held during the pandemia for BCC, and it went through all 4 colleges up until today. So we've been through all 4 colleges celebrating our Raíces graduation.
Eso es nuestra 7ª graduación. La primera era en Berkeley City College durante la pandemia y ya tenemos 7 años ya. Gracias por todo eso.
We'd like to welcome Miki for the blessing of the ceremony.
Vamos a comenzar con una ceremonia, una bendición por Miki Solín.
Hola, buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a todos, bienvenidos padres, madres, hijos, hijas, hermanos, hermanas, familiares, estudiantes. Bienvenidos a su graduación. Felicidades, clase de 2026. ¿Cómo están? Vamos a hacer una ofrenda pequeña aquí, una ofrenda estilo anahuaca. Vamos a dar gracias a los rumbos, a las direcciones, a todo lo que nos da vida, a todos los elementos. Gracias por otro día de vida que tenemos aquí en estas tierras Solone, y también gracias a todos ustedes que están aquí y a su camino. Entonces, vamos a comenzar.
Si pueden levantarse, vamos a hacer la bendición. Perdón, ceremonia.
vamos a ofrendar un canto que es para la madre que son ustedes, los que son madres, y las madres que tenemos el potencial de ser madres, y nuestra madre tierra, que nos da fuerza. El canto básicamente solo dice, oh, gran madre, nuestra madre, gracias, gracias. Y se repite. Por si no me podían escuchar, vamos a ofrendar ahora un canto a Tonantzin, a nuestra madre. Este canto es para todas las madres, todas las abuelas, todas las personas con úteros. Gracias. Me están ofreciendo ayuda con el micrófono en un segundo. Y otra vez solo quiero dar gracias a ustedes, quiero que se den gracias a ustedes, a sus familias, y pueden admirar a sus personas alrededor, cómo han llegado. Es una jornada, no todos pueden ser estudiantes, es un camino muy largo. Estoy segura que no ha sido algo difícil o algo fácil, ¿verdad? Es un poquito de todo. Entonces queremos honrar todos esos diferentes viajes que han tenido. La vida va a continuar, no se va a poner más fácil ni más difícil tampoco, va a ser un poquito de todo. Entonces espero que lo puedan disfrutar. Vamos a ofrendar esta canción para la madre, y quiero también ofrendarles que siempre es un buen momento para regresar a nuestra madre tierra, ¿verdad? Es bien cuando necesitan arraizarse a algo, si no se sienten bien, si tienen ansiedad, quizás pueden tomar un momento afuera, salir a caminar, salir a pasar tiempo con ella, quizás sentir el viento en sus caras, salir a tocar el agua, comer algo rico, algo nutritivo para sus cuerpos, ¿verdad? O quizás le pueden llamar a una amiga que sea como su madre para ustedes a veces, o a sus madres, los que tenemos madres todavía. Pero siempre es bueno recordar las cosas que parecen que no son mucho. Entonces vamos a ofrendar esta canción.
Oh.
Gracias a todos. Vamos a que continúen su ceremonia. Esto solo es el comienzo. Vamos a cerrar como abrimos esta bendición pequeña, y luego pueden seguir su ceremonia de graduación y luego su celebración. Entonces otra vez los vamos a invitar, si gustan, si pueden pararse, y vamos otra vez a reconocer a todos los elementos y las direcciones.
Una más vez.
So I know you guys heard about the after party. Yes, no, our reception is going to be in the H building. We just wanted to remind you all, do not leave after the celebration and go home. We do have a reception in the H building, and we will lead graduates and families there.
Un recuerdo que vamos a tener una recepción después de este programa. Va a estar en el Building H, el edificio H. Si tienen una copia de la programa, se puede ver ahí la mapa. Va a haber comida, bastante comida, toda la comida que quieran. Y va a haber música, un DJ Pulpo, igual una banda. Entonces, que lléguenle, ¿no?
And now we'd like to introduce the College of Alameda's president, Melanie Dixon, to share some words of inspiration.
Ahora vamos a pedirle a la presidenta Melanie Dixon.
Good evening. How are we doing, graduates? Yes? And how are we doing, families? Yes. Well, I want to thank you for showing up here in great numbers and in support of our 2026 graduates here at College of Alameda. Yes, indeed. I'd like to take the opportunity before I get started with a couple of words to just thank the entire planning committee for the work that they've done to bring this beautiful celebration together for year 7. So thank you all so much for that. And then I also want to acknowledge my colleagues, the presidents at our sister colleges, our Berkeley City College president, Dr. Richardson, our Merritt College president, Dr. Johnson, and our Laney College president, Dr. Absada. So thank you all for coming and joining us tonight. And I have some designees here. I have our Chancellor, Tamil Gilkerson, Dr. Gilkerson in the space this evening. 2 of our trustees have joined us, our President Quinlan, Trustee Quinlan here, and our Trustee Johannes here, joining us this evening. So I just want to take just a few words to say to you graduates, it's been a very rough year, not only in your studies and persevering through your classrooms and all of the other extracurricular activities you have, but also what is happening in our society. And so I just want to applaud you and your families for persevering and making it through. The ganas that you carry with you in your experience is acknowledged and appreciated, and we are so proud of you today for everything that you've accomplished. We hope that you have enjoyed your experiences at the colleges, and most importantly, we hope that you continue to go out and do great things in this world, continue to inspire, continue to be authentic, and more importantly, continue to show up and be who you are and gives your gifts to this world as a point of resistance to what it is that we are experiencing. Thank you so much, and congratulations again, 2026 graduates.
Let's thank President Melanie Dixon for those wonderful words. Let's give her back her glasses here. Here you go. I don't want you to think I took them, you know. Next, we're gonna have a student poet come up and bless us with his words.
So if Daniel Mora, please, if you can come up and give us a few words.
I grew up translating for my parents at school appointments, which sounds responsible until you realize I was not always translating the truth. I was more like a teenage court interpreter with no license, no ethics, and full of confidence. I wasn't translating conversations, I was curating outcomes. I also remember feeling kind of out of place growing up. We would drive to Rosarito to visit family, but they couldn't really drive up north to see us. So I grew up in this weird middle space. Not fully from here, not fully from there. Just emotionally on standby. For a long time, I felt like I was just consistently misunderstood in 2 languages. At home, fix your Spanish. In the neighborhood, your English sounds funny. So I wasn't bilingual, I was just getting roasted globally. But I've embraced it now. I acknowledge that as a Mexicano born in los Estados Unidos, I am best of both worlds. I can feel El Rey by Vicente Fernandez in my soul, and immediately after that being a Temptation song like I'm going through something. I can walk into a business meeting full of dignitaries on a weekday, and by the weekend, I'm at the pulga like, ándale, 2 por 5. I contain multitudes. I'm basically a cultural crossover episode with no script. So at this point in my life, I've accepted my whole self, flawed, funny, in between, still figuring it out. And tonight, I stand here proudly, standing firm, and keeping my life in order the way I used to order tacos without hesitation or consequences. 3 de lengua con todo, y una agua fresca, por favor. No second thoughts, no self-doubt, no overthinking the consequence. Just order it, live it, move on. And I think that's how I've started to live everything, because I spent my life in between languages, identities, and expectations. But I've learned how to turn that space into something useful. I speak now, not just on stages, but in schools with at-risk youth, with kids who feel like they don't fully belong anywhere either. I write poetry, I write plays. I try to turn the in-between into something people can actually feel. And I'm also working on something where I can combine entertainment and education, because I want to tell stories that sound like where I come from and where I'm going at the same time. And yeah, I still dream, just differently now. Not quietly, not unapologetically, and definitely not in small portions, because I used to interpret other people's stories. Now I'm finally writing my own. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel. Your words were very powerful, and just like all of you, right, you're telling stories about where you're coming from and where you're going. So thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for reminding us of that.
Now we'd like to call up our Chancellor, Dr. Tamil Gilkerson.
Good evening. It's such an honor to be here. Tonight we gather in celebration of something powerful. Raíces, fuertes, futuros, brillantes, strong roots, bright futures. That theme speaks to more than achievement. It speaks to identity, to sacrifice, to resilience, to the generations who planted seeds long before many of us ever stepped on a college campus. For many of our students, graduating is not just a personal accomplishment, it is a family history unfolding in real time. Some of you crossed borders, some crossed neighborhoods where opportunity wasn't even, some balanced school with work, caregiving, parenting, or as Daniel said, translating for your families before you were old enough to fully understand the weight of that responsibility. Some doubted whether you belonged here because systems were not built with you in mind, and yet you are here. That is what strong roots look like. Roots are often invisible. We do not always see them, but they are what holds us steady during storms. They are the values passed down at kitchen tables, the stories from grandparents, the language, the faith, the humor, the insistence that education matters even when access has not always been equal. Roots remind us that we came from people who survived, adapted, created, organized, dreamed, and kept going. I think sometimes society talks about students as though their success begins, frankly, right, when they arrived at college. And I absolutely reject that idea. Your success began long before that. It began with the people who believed in you, the people who worked double shifts, The people who told you, sigue adelante, keep going. And now you become part of those roots for someone else. Because tonight is not only about where you came from, it's also about what comes next. Right? Absolutely. Bright futures. Graduates, you know, Bianca knows, right? Bright futures are not accidental. They are built. They are built by people willing to imagine something larger than what currently exists. People willing to lead with courage even when the path is uncertain. And I want to say this clearly tonight. The world needs you exactly as you are. It needs bilingual leaders. It needs culturally grounded educators, entrepreneurs, educators. It needs artists, nurses, counselors, organizers, engineers, and public servants who understand community, dignity, and humanity. It needs people who know how to build bridges between worlds instead of walls between people. Do not underestimate the power of your perspective. There is a beautiful concept in many Latin American traditions that identity is not something you leave behind in order to succeed. It is something you carry with you. Your culture is not an obstacle to achievement. It is a source of strength. Your roots are not weights holding you down. They are anchors holding you steady while you rise. And as you move forward, remember this: success is meaningful, but significance matters more. Titles matter less. Chancellor, presidents, deans, right? Recognition matters less than integrity. And no accomplishment means much if we forget to reach back and help others forward. This is a part of what makes community so special. In our cultures, achievement is rarely individual. We celebrate together, we carry one another, we understand that I made it means we made it. Tonight, I also want to recognize the families, the loved ones, the faculty, classified professionals, counselors, mentors, and friends who helped this moment possible. Graduates, look around this room for a moment. Every person cheering for you carries a pride because they were part of your journey too. And to the graduates, you should be proud of yourselves, not only because you completed a degree or certificate, but because you persisted, because you kept showing up, because you chose possibility even in the difficult moments. That matters. And as you leave tonight, I hope you carry with you the humility and confidence. Humility to continue learning, confidence to know you belong in every room you enter. Your roots are strong. Your future is bright. Felicidades, class of 2026. Keep growing, keep leading, keep shining. Have a great night.
Let's give it up one more time for our chancellor. She dropped a lot of knowledge for free. Thank you.
I always look forward to hearing your speeches throughout commencements, workshops, professional development days. So thank you so much for coming and speaking. Next up, we have student speakers. Our first student speaker is from BCC.
Is it Kai Dorantes? Kai, is Kai here?
Oh, there's a lot more people here than I thought sitting up there. Hello, everyone. Hello to my loved ones and to the loved ones of all of my fellow graduates. It makes me really excited to see everyone here together in community, and thank you, Chancellor Tamil, once again. When I first heard the theme for today's graduation, Strong Roots, Bright Futures, they say strong roots. They tell us to be stable, unshakable, deeply connected to where we come from. But I would like to pose a question. What if you don't feel strong? What if they don't feel rooted and instead they're scattered, or you're forced to grow in places where you don't belong? What if you're scattered across two vastly different lives, two cultures, two homes, two identities? I've been told to bloom as big, as fast, as beautifully as everyone else. But who gets to decide what beautiful blooming actually looks like? Who gets to say how much water we need or where we should plant ourselves? I want to talk about the roots that we do have, not just the ones we're born into, but the ones that we choose, the ones that we nurture, the ones that we carry with us, even when we're told to leave them behind. My roots began with my mom and my dad, two vastly, vastly different people who, in the most unexpected way, planted me. Week after week, I was uprooted and shipped between lives. My dad, a hardworking Mexican man, and my now lovely stepmom, who worked full-time to build a life and start a family. And my mom, a tall Italian woman, though if you asked her, she would say the biggest Italian part about her is her love for wine. And she was sick my whole life, and she couldn't work. So you see, I was so busy balancing whose kid I was each day that I never had a lot of time to think about who I was. My parents lived very, very different lives, culturally, economically, geographically, medically. I jumped around so much, not just between homes, but between identities, cultures, lifestyles. All the things that usually define who we are and who we become never stuck around long enough to feel like they mattered to me. I hadn't thought that I was lost or that I didn't fit in, but there has always been this sense of otherness, a quiet feeling that the memories and cultures and experiences that people around me shared weren't mine to claim, because nothing I experienced felt like it held the same weight or meaning as theirs. But one thing that I've learned from my time at BCC and in this district is that there is no one definition of identity. My roots aren't just the soil that I was planted in. They were the love my parents gave me, the love they continue to give me, the resilience I inherited, the choices I made to carry both of them with me, even when the world told me I couldn't. And then in 2019, my mom passed away. And grief has a way of forcing you to ask the hard questions. Who am I without her? Who am I beyond the roles I've played? But I think it also has a way of clarifying what really matters. My mom's life, her strength, her humor, her stubbornness and her love for wine, her dream to travel to Italy, all of those things taught me that roots aren't just about where you come from. They're about who you choose to carry with you. In my time here, I have grown, blossomed in such a way that I could not have imagined. And my growth is only thanks to all of the people that have cared for me, watered me, and showed me what it means to be myself. Dree, you met me when I was 17, about to graduate high school, and now I'm 20. Sorry. And I'm graduating from BCC. Thank you. Thank you for being the first person at BCC to welcome me with open arms and to show me that I do have places where I belong. I wouldn't have made it to where I am without you today. And thank you so much for how much you've supported and uplifted and watered me while I've been here. My goat, bye. Izzy, we joke a lot about our relationship. You know, oh, what is Izzy gonna do without Kay? What is Kay gonna do without Izzy? But I'm standing here and it's kind of like actually hitting. I know that I'm still gonna be working with you in the summer, but I can't express how thankful I am to have met you on my first day at BCC. For those who may not know, I met Izzy my first day on campus. I was at admissions and records and I was just sobbing. I don't remember why. I think I was confused and I was overwhelmed. And Izzy came to my rescue. And I didn't know how impactful that moment would be, but now I do know that that was a root in and of itself being planted. And I don't know where I would be without it. And so tonight I want to talk about the roots that we do have. You know, for me, those roots are the scent of my mom's kitchen that no matter how empty, always smelled like garlic and wine. the quiet pride that I have for my dad's work ethic and the way he grew so that he could be an amazing dad to me and now a dad to my little sister. The resilience of my body and my mind, which is shaped by my childhood that demanded adaptability and strength, and the people and places I've been blessed with loving, who have shown me where and just how strong my roots are. For some of us, our roots aren't visible. They're not on paper, in a photo, in the way we move through the world. For others, they're quieter, felt more than seen. But no matter how connected or disconnected you feel to your history, every part of you is valued, inspiring, and loving. Our futures are bright, not because we've been given permission to shine, but because we are the ones holding that light. We are the connection to our cultures. We are the bridge, the puente, like many of us are in, to those who came before us and the future that we're building for those who came after. And to those of us who are celebrating today and this season with both joy and grief in our hearts, who miss loved ones who are not here to see this moment, you are not alone. And your love for them doesn't tarnish this day. It makes it more special because this degree isn't just yours, it's theirs too. It's the culmination of every sacrifice, every late night study session, every time you felt like giving up but didn't. So tonight, as we stand here together, I hope we can all make promises to ourselves to honor our roots, no matter how tangled or broken they feel, to define ourselves, not by stereotypes or expectations, but by the stories only we can tell, to build futures that are as bright and unique as the cultures, memories, and individuality we carry within us. Because the truth is, we are the roots, we are the bridge, and we are the future.
Thank you so much, Kay, and for reminding us that this journey wouldn't have been done with a lot of the support and love from our faculty and staff. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
If we have any classified faculty, any faculty here, if you guys would like to stand up, even if you're not from College of Alameda, BCC, anybody here, please stand up so we can
Please
recognize
stand up,
you.
faculty and
Financial
staff.
aid, I see you.
Dream,
Dean
stand
Nguyen,
up, girl.
Eva, Jennings,
Y también ustedes
stand
allá,
up. We just
come on,
want to
stand up. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for all the work that you do.
You guys can see we have our committee and some faculty over there. Thank you guys so much for being here and showing up for our students. Our next speaker is going to be from the best college, I'm just kidding. From College of Alameda, Francisco Valspino.
Hi everyone, how's it going? I can hear you. How's it going, everybody? Today is going to be a speech full Spanish because most of the supporters, I will say fathers, cousins, friends, only speak Spanish. And that's not fair for them just to speak English. So today, sorry for who can speak Spanish, but antes de comenzar, me gustaría decirles a ustedes que felicidades, en especial a las mujeres, porque normalmente siempre se les nombra como el sexo débil, y la verdad es de que ustedes son las que mantienen este universo. Felicidades a todas ustedes. También me gustaría decirles que si por favor pueden decir esto conmigo. Sí pude, sí puedo y sí voy a poder. ¿Lo podemos hacer? Ok, vamos a empezar. Sí pude, sí puedo y sí voy a poder. Gracias. Y también me gustaría dedicarle unas palabras a todas las personas que han sido racistas con los mexicanos, con los salvadoreños, hondureños, guatemaltecos, colombianos y todo aquel que llevamos en común la hispanohablantes. El racista no nos odia por solamente odiarnos. El racista no nos odia, en realidad nos tiene miedo. En realidad nos tiene envidia porque ellos no tienen lo que nosotros tenemos. Amor, pasión, cultura, y eso nunca lo van a tener. El racismo y el odio se olvidarán de él, pero del amor y de nosotros nunca. Cada que pisen en cualquier parte del mundo, que les llamen por lo que son, mexicanos, guatemaltecos, hondureños, paraguayos, colombianos, no latinos, porque nos encasillaron en latinos para hacer ellos la palabra somos americanos, escondiéndonos a nosotros a un lado, y no, que te llamen por lo que eres. Yo soy mexicano y con mucho orgullo. Este logro no fue para nada fácil conseguirlo. Primero llegó como un sueño. Yo recuerdo cuando era niño que miraba las películas, las series, y ocasionalmente miraba yo las grabaciones como esta. Y yo decía, algún día voy a estar ahí. Y cuando me arrimaba a decírselo a la gente en voz alta y con orgullo, siempre me decían, no, tú no tienes cerebro para eso. Y también lamentablemente parte de mi familia lo decía, tú nunca vas a lograr hacerlo. Niños como tú que no hablan bien, nunca lo van a lograr. Y yo empecé a hablar a los 6 años y hasta los 10 años pude hablar bien. Por eso siempre me decían que yo nunca lo iba a lograr. Cuando me miraban jugando con mis juguetes, ellos solamente miraban que yo los desarmaba y que lo hacía por travesura o por berrinche. Nunca se dieron cuenta que lo hacía para armar más juguetes. Me hicieron sentir y me hicieron ver como que mi talento no importaba. Me hicieron sentir uno menos. Y después que llegué a comprender que en realidad nunca lo hacía por ser un niño malo, que tenía un gran talento y era mío y único, y que nadie más lo tenía. Pasando el tiempo, también tuve que hacerme a un lado de ellos. Entendí que no tenía que solamente luchar por mi sueño y que tenía que demostrarles algo. Entendí que también tenía que vivir mi vida y hacerme de la idea que yo iba a ser solo. Yo comprendí que tenía que vivir no para callar bocas, tenía que callar mi boca para vivir. Cada que decía yo algo, mucha de la gente solamente se dedicaba a decir no, y no, y no. Y no es así. Entendí que tenía que ser como las abejas. Hay 2 clases de personas en este mundo. Las que son como las abejas, que siempre, aunque sea en el desierto, van a encontrar la flor más hermosa para vivir. Y las moscas, que aunque estén en el paraíso, siempre van a buscar la popó para llegar y aterrizar. Entonces, yo comprendí que tenía que ver la vida de la mejor manera y de lo mejor. Comprendí que alejarme de mi familia no era solamente porque no los amara. Lo tenía que hacer porque en realidad tenía que amarme a mí mismo y tenía que hacer mi propio camino. Los dejé atrás no por egoísmo, los dejé atrás porque seguía el mismo núcleo, nunca me iba a dejar avanzar. Y cuando ustedes piensen tirar la toalla, solamente piensen en esto. Cuando miren la luna, van a ver la parte más hermosa de Dios. Cuando miren el sol, van a ver la parte de poder y de fuerza que Dios tiene. Pero cuando te mires en un espejo, vas a ver la creación más hermosa de Dios. Valórate por lo que eres. Sigue tu sueño, nunca pares. Ya se dieron cuenta que lograron algo, y ese algo es algo tan hermoso que solamente ustedes sintieron ese dolor para lograrlo. Nadie más pasó por lo que ustedes pasaron, solo ustedes. No se rindan. Y antes antes de terminar, también me gustaría dedicarle este título a mi esposa, a quien amo con toda mi alma, a mis hijos, a mis padres, a mis suegros y a todas aquellas personas que estuvieron a mí alentándome, porque un échale ganas, tú puedes, significó mucho para mí. Y a todas aquellas personas que en su momento me odiaron, me criticaron y me traicionaron o solamente se arrimaban por hacerme daño, también les doy las gracias, porque gracias a eso agarré más fuerzas, no por importarme lo que ellos pensaran de mí, sino para demostrarme que yo podía, para seguir adelante. Así es de que muchas gracias a esa gente que se esforzó en hacerme sentir mal, porque todas sus críticas, sus malas palabras, las metí en mi cuenta bancaria a ver si algún día me generaba algún interés. Así es de que gracias a todos que estuvieron a mi lado, felicidades a todos ustedes, pero no nada más a ustedes, sino los que vinieron con ustedes, porque ellos estuvieron a su lado. Dedíquenle este título a esas personas que los ayudaron, pero sobre todo ustedes, ámanse y quiéranse, y sobre todo el título que les están dando. Muchas felicidades, y por último me gustaría que volviéramos a decir, si pude, si puedo y si voy a poder, pero ahora cuando vayamos a decir si pude, recuerden por todo lo que pasaron ustedes, por todas esas heridas que sufrieron para llegar aquí. El sí puedo porque aquí estamos firmes, y el sí voy a poder porque vendrán más peleas, vendrán más batallas y las vamos a ganar. ¿Y saben por qué? Porque podemos. Así es de que ayúdenme a decir esto con mucha fuerza. Sí pude, sí puedo y sí voy a poder. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Francisco. Eres un ejemplo que se puede lograr.
Thank you, Francisco, for those inspiring words. Now we have two speakers from Laney, and our first speaker is Val Axlin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name.
Buenas tardes, mi gente latina, ¿cómo estamos? Mi nombre es Valeria Axtle y soy la presidenta del gobierno estudiantil y del club de puente en Laney College. Quiero empezar por darle las gracias a las personas en mi vida que me han apoyado en cada momento y que hicieron esto posible para mí. Para mi familia que están presentes aquí hoy. Gracias por el apoyo y amor incondicional que me dan todos los días. Para mis abuelos y mi mamá, no tengo palabras para decirles lo agradecida que estoy con ustedes. Gracias por todos sus sacrificios. Ustedes son mi motivación en cada cosa que hago y los llevo conmigo siempre. Los amo. Para mi pareja Melvin, muchísimas gracias por todo tu apoyo. Te amo con todo mi corazón. Y para mi mejor amiga Ángela, que es mi inspiración, muchísimas gracias por todo tu apoyo. Y para mi comunidad en el programa de Puente, Miss Laura, Miss Evelyn y el profesor Cristian González Reyes, gracias por creer en mí. Y por ver mi potencial como persona y estudiante antes de que yo misma lo podía ver. Me han cambiado la vida por completo y son programas como estos que realmente hacen una diferencia en las vidas de los latinos. Finalmente, para todos los estudiantes que están aquí hoy, felicidades, Hemos pasado largos días y noches estudiando y planeando nuestros futuros. Estoy orgullosa de decir que a pesar de todos los conflictos que están pasando contra nuestras comunidades, seguimos llenos de motivación, fe y amor, siempre llevando nuestras raíces con nosotros. Los latinos luchamos por no solo nuestros sueños, sino por los sueños de nuestras familias, de estar en lugares donde muchos dudaron que podíamos llegar. Y para muchos de nosotros, ser valientes en ser los primeros en nuestras familias en graduarse hoy. Hay que seguir seguros de nosotros mismos y de nuestra cultura. Hablar nuestro idioma en lugares donde el inglés es preferido. De trabajar el doble porque nuestros esfuerzos siempre tendrán resultados. Es importante que nunca se nos olvide de dónde venimos y de no tener miedo. No tener miedo de ser latinos y de decir, aquí estamos y de aquí no nos vamos. Porque siempre tendremos raíces fuertes y futuros brillantes. Que vivan los latinos, que viva México, Cuquillo, Jalisco, y que viva todos los países de Latinoamérica. Muchísimas gracias y que Dios los bendiga siempre.
Muchas gracias. Ahora vamos a preguntarle a Sebastian to come up and say some words. Sebastian, are you here?
Thank you, everybody. This is very exciting. It's hard to go after so many wonderful speakers. Buenas tardes a todos. Es un privilegio y una gran alegría estar aquí compartiendo este momento con ustedes. Y quiero aprovechar esta oportunidad para expresar algo que ha estado muy profundo en mi corazón. Hoy dirijo a ustedes en español, por supuesto, un idioma lleno de historia, de cultura, de pasión, de profundidad. Y aunque el tema de graduación es raíces, hoy no quiero enfocarme solamente en raíces, sino en una semilla esencial, la honra. Porque las raíces sostienen la vida, pero la semilla representa aquello que se siembra y se transmite de generación en generación. Si alguien pregunta qué significa la honra, desde una perspectiva histórica y cultural podemos ver los ejemplos de nuestros ancestros. Los mexicas o aztecas enseñaban la importancia del respeto, la valentía y el servicio a la comunidad. Los mayas promovían la gratitud, el equilibrio y el cuidado del prójimo como esencia de la vida espiritual. Los incas valoraban el trabajo en comunidad, la solidaridad y el compartir como un deber sagrado. Todos ellos tenían algo muy profundo, que la vida no se trataba solamente de uno mismo, sino de cómo tratamos a los demás y de cómo reconocemos el sacrificio de quienes caminaron antes de nosotros. La honra no es solamente el respeto. La honra es vivir con intención, con gratitud constante y conciencia del valor de las personas que han sembrado en nuestras vidas. Por eso la vida de Jesús de Nazaret impactó tanto la vida y la historia del mundo, viendo un antes y después de Cristo, dando honra a Dios y al prójimo con amor, en contra del racismo y con aceptación de todos. Y por eso hoy solo no celebramos a nosotros como graduados, sino quiero celebrar a todos ustedes. Hoy quiero dirigirme a padres, madres, hermanos, abuelos, abuelas, vecinos, compañeros, jefes, profesores, administradores. Gracias por proveer. Gracias por esas noches de no descanso. Gracias por esos consejos que a veces ustedes han de haber creído que no los llevamos en el corazón. Hoy les honramos. Y nuestro compromiso como graduados no es desperdiciar las oportunidades que ustedes han sembrado en nosotros. No tomamos a la ligera el esfuerzo de ustedes. Y el día de hoy, si estamos graduados, es por las semillas de amor que ustedes sembraron en nosotros. Les honramos. Más que nosotros como graduados, honramos el sacrificio de todos los demás que han estado aquí, que pudieron impartir en nosotros gran valor y esfuerzo y palabras de orgullo. Muchas gracias a todos. Que Dios les bendiga.
Muchas gracias, Sebastián. Okay, now we have our Merit speakers. If you haven't been to Merit, you guys should go see Merit. It's a very beautiful campus. I would say the second beautiful campus because we're here at College of Alameda. But next we have Katia Sandoval.
I like to say that Merit is the beautiful college out here, so shout out to my Merit people right here. Buenas tardes, familias, profesores, mentores, y especialmente nuestra comunidad latina. My name is Katia Sandoval Mayorga, and I'm a proud first-generation Mexican-American and a member of the Puente program and club. It is truly an honor to stand before you all tonight. We did it, everyone. A long journey, but we're here. We made it through sleepless nights, stress, tears, self-doubt, responsibilities, and moments where life tested us the way no one else could. We balanced school, work, home, caring for our siblings or family, but we showed up every day when mentally and emotionally exhausted. At times when I felt like giving up, it would be easier than continuing. Whenever I start losing motivation, me pongo a pensar en mis padres que siempre me dicen, échale ganas, mija, tú puedes, eres chingona. They remind me of my strength, which brings me to our slogan tonight, Raíces fuertes, futuros brillantes. Our roots are strong because they were built through sacrifice, love, and resilience. Many of our parents came to this country with faith, courage, and ganas de salir adelante. Many crossed borders, left family behind, memories, not because it was easy, but because they believed in the possibility of something better. Quiero tomarme un momento para agradecer a mis padres, Verónica Mayorga y Mateo Sandoval. Mamá y pa, gracias. Gracias por tu sacrificio. Gracias por trabajar largas horas, por el agotamiento que llevaste y poner nuestras necesidades antes de las tuyas. Gracias por cruzar obstáculos visibles y invisibles para poder estar aquí hoy. Gracias por creer en mí durante momentos los que luché para creer en mí mismo. Me diste oportunidades que nunca tuviste, me diste fuerza, me diste valores y más que nada me dieron el mundo. Todo lo que logré lleva un pedazo de tu sacrificio. Este diploma, este momento, este logro también es de ustedes. I also want to thank Professor Santana, Professor Garcia, Mario Flores, Dr. Judith Trinidad, and Dra. Chavez for creating a community at Merit where our culture was celebrated, our voices mattered, and teaching our history to remind us who we are and to be proud of it. Only about 13% of Latinx students go on to earn their graduate's degree. But I know that number will grow because we are opening doors, not for ourselves, but for our siblings, cousins, communities, and future generations. I want to remind the future healthcare professionals, psychologists, educators, lawyers, business owners, scientists, activists, and leaders to remember this. You will walk into a space feeling like you don't belong. But don't forget, we are proof that every sacrifice creates an opportunity. We are proof that dreams survive. We are proof that resilience lives within us. And this is only the beginning. Nunca olvides donde vienes. Never be ashamed of your roots. Those roots are not our weakness, son nuestra fuerza. They are the reasons why we are here, because when we have raíces fuertes, we create futuros brillantes. Thank you, muchísimas gracias.
All right, so for our last, thank you so much. For our last student speaker, Daniel Hinojosa. Daniel.
Saving the best for last. Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Hinojosa. I'm Puente president from 2024-2025 cohort. We did it. Buenas noches, estimados Raíces. Tonight is our night to celebrate our accomplishments. The journey wasn't easy, but we did it. Lo logramos. I want to give special thanks to all the people who supported me and helped me develop strong roots, raíces fuertes, so that we could succeed in this path called education. 10 years ago, I didn't see myself in this position, graduating, pursuing a nursing degree. If it wasn't for my wife, Mary, I wouldn't be here today. I owe this to you, Mary. I love you. And my children, Tommy and Amaya. As first-gen college students, we don't have guidance to navigate college. Because of my accomplishments, my children will know the importance of a college education. I'm very fortunate to have found Puente. Thanks to Puente counselor, Mr. Salcedo, for building a path and giving me the confidence to knock out 5 classes each semester. Him telling me, yeah, you can do it, easy, gave me the extra push and some stress. But I did it. Ms. Latang, thank you for the support, inspire me to write and continue writing, for urging me to step out of my comfort zone, including becoming the Puente president of my cohort. Throughout Puente, I've met English professor, Ms. Santana, Isela Santana. You taught me the importance of education to help me find my voice as a strong leader. Profe, Dr. Garcia. Your lectures and reading assignments showed me that I am capable of achieving more than I ever thought possible. To my fellow graduates, don't downplay your success. Step out of your comfort zone and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail or start over. I did it, and it has made all the difference. Congratulations to each of you. Raíces fuertes, futuros brillantes. We did it. Ánimo.
Buenas tardes. ¿No se oye? Un aplauso para los que se reciben hoy. Por favor, que se oiga. Ese orgullo latino, mexicano, guatemalteco, salvadoreño, uruguayo, de todas las partes de Latinoamérica. Gracias por estar aquí esta noche, a sus familias. Nosotros vamos a presentar a la siguiente persona. Es una doctora, es una activista, es guerrera, es autora, Ella habla por distintos lugares. Yo lo voy a decir en inglés y aquí nuestro director de HSI en Merritt College, él lo va a decir en español. I have the pleasure of introducing a scholar, an activist, author, warrior, and speaker. Dr. Gina Ann Garcia is a leader, scholar of higher education and organizational change, and a professor in the Berkeley School of Education. Dr. Garcia is a public scholar committed to disrupting the status quo of post-secondary education. She studies organizational change in the context of Hispanic serving institutions, advocating for new HSI futures. Grounded in her own theories of change, she provides practical solutions for HSIs and other colleges and universities that enroll compositionally diverse students. She delivers public lectures that motivate people to think critically about the role and function of colleges and universities. She offers professional development and workshops to help faculty, staff, and administrators assess their institutional practices for serving Latino and other racially and economically minoritized students, and consults directly with HSI students, educators, and leaders. Dr. Garcia, I've had the pleasure of meeting her a few years ago at another conference. When we first started with the HSI at Merritt College, we were 25%. Now, today, we're at almost 33% Latinos at Merritt College. So I want to thank you, and I want to introduce our HSI director, Mario Flores.
Muchas gracias, doctora Chávez, muchas gracias. Es un placer estar aquí el día de hoy con todos ustedes. Felicidades a todos ustedes, los graduados y las familias que lo han hecho posible. Tengo el orgullo de presentar a la doctora García. Ella es una intelectual de la Academia Pública comprometida con transformar el status quo de la educación postsecundaria. Estudia el cambio organizacional en el contexto de las instituciones al servicio de los latinos, hispanos, HSI, por sus siglas en inglés, proveyendo nuevas visiones y futuros para los HSIs. Basada en sus propias teorías de cambio, ofrece soluciones prácticas para las HSIs y otras universidades e instituciones de educación superior que atienden a estudiantes con una composición diversa. Ofrece conferencias públicas que motivan a las personas a reflexionar críticamente sobre el papel y la función de las universidades e instituciones de educación superior. Brinda desarrollo profesional y talleres para ayudar a docentes, personal y administradores a evaluar sus prácticas institucionales en el servicio de estudiantes latinos y a otros estudiantes racial, económicamente minorizados, y asesora directamente a estudiantes, educadores y líderes de las escuelas HSIs. Por favor, démosle un gran aplauso, por favor, a la doctora García. Gracias.
Thank you. Y'all make me sound so important. Thank you all for the beautiful introduction. Thank you to President Dixon, to President Johnson, to Chancellor Gilkerson, and to trustees of Peralta Community College District. It's an honor to be here with you today to deliver this speech to this Latino graduation. This is the first commencement address that I've delivered for a Latino graduation, so it's extra special to me. I've dedicated my career to exploring and researching and learning about what it means to serve Latino college students. And cultural graduations are one of the most significant spaces for serving Latino students. Cultural graduations are a place where students celebrate their accomplishments con sus familias, con sus padres, sus abuelos, in Inglés y Español, as we've witnessed tonight. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's a place where students can feel connected to their cultura in a place that doesn't always feel like they belong. So I will start off by saying greetings to all the families of all the graduates. Saludos a las familias de los graduados. Bienvenidos. You belong here, and we're excited to celebrate you today. To be here with you today is extra special and meaningful because I live just 4 miles from here. As my colega, Doctora Desiree Zedguera, la esposa de Juan, recently taught me, I'm not from the Bay, but I'm of the Bay. Meaning I don't hail from these parts, but I live here, and this is now my home. And I've come to understand the culture and the vibe, and I love it here. So I'm really excited to be here with y'all today. It means a lot to me. And although I'm not from here, I was born and raised in California, coming from the land of the Chumash people, which is present-day Southern California. I grew up in Simi Valley, California, which is one of the whitest cities in Southern California, or at least it was when I lived there. I distinctly remember when I was a student leader working in Associated Student Bodies in my body's office in my high school, and looking at the demographic data for my high school and noticing that the population was 80% white and 20% people of color. I was 16 years old when I saw those data, but I've never forgotten them. In many ways, I think those data are the reasons why I study the things that I do today. I'm curious about the ways schools and colleges support students who they are not designed to support. And that really stems from my childhood, as I often would question why I wasn't welcome in the city where I grew up. Why did people stare at me and my very large Latino family when we would take over the entire park for Easter and crack cascarones over each other's heads? Why did the police racially profile my male cousins who had bald heads, long shorts, white t-shirts, white socks, and Nike Cortez? And why did my parents force us to speak English instead of Spanish, the language of our ancestors? I had so many questions, and I'm sure you do too. And I want to encourage you to keep asking questions, because those questions should drive your creativity and your purpose as you move on to the next endeavor. Today, however, the questions have shifted. Our community, nuestra gente, are under attack. The Trump administration has made Latinos and immigrants the #1 enemy, the scapegoat, the target for his hate and xenophobic rhetoric. In Nazi Germany in 1940s, it was Jewish people. And today in the United States, under Trump, it's immigrants. The current times are overwhelming, and sometimes we feel we can't keep going. On Friday, I was on my way to the Oakland airport to meet my family for Mother's Day weekend. And when I got off the freeway, I saw 3 police vehicles and now a familiar image of masked men with ice vests interrogating a Latina woman holding a baby. Me and the Lyft driver were pretty enraged, knowing exactly what was happening. When mothers are being detained while holding their babies on Mother's Day weekend in our community, it feels like the United States government is the enemy and we are the targets. If you're not feeling overwhelmed and a little bit angry, you're probably not paying attention. So let that be my first point today, because all good graduation speeches offer lessons or key takeaways. I learned that by watching like 5 on YouTube. But today we'll call them dichos. So dicho number 1, wake up, stand up, and fight back. We cannot close our eyes and hope this nightmare ends. It won't unless we do something. We can't all be on the front lines organizing, but we can all do something. Maybe your family can't vote, but you can. So that can be something that you do to ensure they are protected. Maybe you can't vote either, but you can make phone calls to voters. That can be something you do. So there's always something we can do, even though we're scared right now. because this is scary times. I know the current moment can feel overwhelming, so let me offer a second dicho, grounded in the work that I do for a living. I'm a scholar, researcher, writer, author, and teacher of educational inequities. I've witnessed inequities my whole life, even if I didn't have the words to describe those things. When I was 14 years old, I watched Rodney King, a black man, get pulled over and almost beaten to death by 4 white police officers with batons. This was new to us in the 1990s. I know y'all young people don't know this, but back in the days, there was no phones and no cameras, all right? We lived life without those things. So we hadn't witnessed something like this, where we could see over and over again 4 white police officers beating a black man nearly to death. But at that time, a person captured it on video. It was a big video, like big ones like that, captured it on video, and so we watched it. We watched it on TV. But when the police officers were tried for their crimes in my white police-loving city of Simi Valley, California, they were acquitted. I remember watching the verdict on TV with my cousins and getting mad. I lived less than a half a mile from the courthouse. Like, I could have walked there. The courthouse where they were tried. And so that day, us teenagers who didn't know anything jumped in the car and went to the courthouse to boo at these police officers when they left the courthouse. We were kids and we didn't really have a plan, but we wanted to see these 4 white men as they walked out as free men. And we did. And it was quiet. Besides our minor booing, that they probably didn't even hear anyways. I was young and I didn't have the words at the time to express what was really going on, but I have the words now. And that is what I do. I speak up about injustices I see, calling for justice whenever I can. So that's dicho number 2, is learn the language and vocabulary of justice and resistance and use it. Use your voice and speak up. Maybe you don't have a large platform like we have today, although we've had several people up here. Maybe you're not Snow the Product, who used her music to call out the Latino family members who voted for Trump. Y'all know that song? That's okay. I don't have that platform either. But you can call out your family to their faces, the same way she did. We can't be silent in the face of oppression. I recently wrote a blog post called Fugitive Servingness, which is servingness, a concept that I theorized about ways colleges and universities can support Latino students. But I was inspired by the concept of fugitive pedagogy, which Jarvis Givens theorizes as the subversive educational acts that black educators performed while enslaved and through Jim Crow to ensure black children were learning despite anti-black exclusion and confinement. Givens notes that black education was always a fugitive project, as enslaved people were forbidden to read and write across southern states. And now we're seeing their voting rights are being taken as well. This is gonna continue on, this fugitive acts. Under strict anti-literacy laws, reading and writing was criminalized, thus making the act of educating and becoming educated a fugitive act. Even after slavery was dismantled, access to adequate education opportunities for black Americans was challenging under strict Jim Crow laws. Within segregated black schools, white surveillance was prevalent. Thus, black educators, including teachers and principals, were regulated, policed, and punished at the hands of white school officials, including superintendents and board members. Yet black educators resisted, developing strategies at the personal, interpersonal, and school-wide levels to ensure black children experience joy and empowerment. While Givens asks, what has been the nature of black people's relationship to American schools, I ask, what is the nature of Latino people's relationship to education under the Trump regime? While I acknowledge that Givens' argument is based on over 300 years of anti-black policing and exclusion, I remind us that Latino students in K-12 schools during the Jim Crow were also segregated in under-resourced schools and stripped of their language and cultural assets. But more important, in the current state of fear and erasure under this regime, as Latinos are largely the target of anti-immigrant sentiments, illegal ICE raids, and attacks on the Spanish language, we are experiencing the same context. So as Hispanic serving institutions are being attacked and undermined by this administration, fugitive pedagogies is something I call on our administrators, our faculty, to think about as a way to continue to be brave and continuing to force our way into the systems that were not for us. HSIs remain legal under the Higher Education Act, including Merritt College, the College of Alameda, Berkeley City College, and Laney College. All HSIs. The Department of Education has defunded and reprogrammed discretionary funding earmarked for HSIs. Those grants have benefited all 4 colleges I just named here in the Peralta District, with each campus being awarded grants to develop things like Latino mentoring programs, Latino cultural centers, and programs to support Latinos in STEM. But now, that money's gone. And so the colleges across California are scrambling to figure out how are we going to continue to support the students. And many of y'all were supported by some of those programs and you didn't even realize it. Many HSI leaders across the country have withdrawn all previous commitments to becoming Latina serving HSIs. Many feel like it is now illegal, the same way Black educators felt like during Jim Crow. Some campuses have even canceled cultural graduations like this. Places like Florida and Texas are living under anti-DEI state legislation that has actually made it illegal to offer ethnic studies classes. How many of y'all took at least one ethnic studies class? All right. Imagine if that wasn't there. Imagine the power that you felt in that class. Those classes are being taken from us, stripped from us. Under this current political climate, I feel it is appropriate to draw on this concept of fugitive pedagogies to think about fugitive servingness. And so while education of Latinos is not necessarily illegal, it's feeling like it's illegal. So I contend that this idea of fugitive servingness is the social and rhetorical framing of HSI efforts and the praxis of creating humanizing, anti-racist, and social justice practices for educating Latinos in colleges and universities. It's a way for us to continue carrying out servingness despite efforts to delegitimize HSIs. I now call on educators to have the same courage that Black educators had during times of enslavement and Jim Crow, when the consequences were just as harsh, if not more unforgiving. So as dicho number 3, I call on all of you to consider the ways that you can enact fugitive acts of servingness in your community at the next stage of your career. Whether it be pursuing a 4-year degree, hopefully some of y'all coming up to see me at UC Berkeley, entering the job market, or pursuing your dreams in other ways. How do you currently, and how can you in the future serve the people you care the most about, even if it feels illegal? At this moment, we must continue to serve and support and care for our communities. In my writings and teaching, I also envision new futures for colleges and universities. I dream about cultural celebrations as the norm, not the exception. Imagine if all graduations honored your culture, your cultural, linguistic, and racial ethnic identity. Imagine if you saw yourself in all your courses. Imagine if all your professors had similar experiences and backgrounds as you. Would that change your experience? Would it have helped you succeed in any different way? Would it have helped you find joy in different ways? I believe it would, and that's what I work towards, as a more inclusive and welcoming environment for all. One of my favorite books is Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. Anybody read it? It's a good book. Basically, the book follows the main character, Lauren Alameda, a young Black girl who carries the weight of an entire community on her back as she navigates tumultuous times. Ironically, those tumultuous times are the years that recently passed, with the book opening in the year 2024. As a dystopian future sci-fi novel written in the 90s, it describes the United States as unstable due to climate change, wealth inequality, and corporate greed. Sounds like something we're experiencing in 2024, 25, 26. When you read the book, it feels like present-day United States, as we are affected by the same things. It's actually quite eerie, because she describes the president in ways that sounds like our president. But the underlying message of the book is about change. Chapter 1 starts with the message: all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. And I think this matters because change is inevitable. We must embrace change and we must lean into change, but we should also drive it. So my next book is called The HSI Movement, and it's about the ways people are driving change from within HSIs. It elevates the voices of people who serve students like you every single day. The people who helped get you here today. We've heard some of y'all thank those people, and I want you all to think about at least one person that you should be thanking. Who are the people at all of the 4 colleges that we're celebrating today that helped you get here today? The counselors, the mentors, the professors, the peer tutors. It took a village to get you here. I hope you will take the time to thank those people today and before you leave the college, because they deserve their flowers for supporting you with love and cariño. The book that I'm talking about, the new book I'm writing, is about envisioning new futures. I know I talked about some things that felt heavy, right? I could feel the weight of the room getting heavy as I talked about those things. So there's also hope in this book, and so I want to offer hope as we wrap this up. I want to help y'all think about how do you envision a new future. And envisioning a new future is inspired by abolitionist scholars like Adrienne Maree Brown, Kelly Hayes, Marian Kaba, and Andrea Ritchie. These are scholars I admire as they write about and dream about new futures where people, skip the page, like us, people with minoritized identities, are liberated and able to experience freedom and joy without the constraints of oppressive policies and systems keeping us down. As Hayes and Kaba remind us, while some people engage in politics for the sake of debate or to defend their sense of moral identity, radical organizers are attempting to create something new. So dicho number 4 is imagine new futures. New futures for your family, your community, your career, your profession, everything you do. Don't get stuck in what has always been. Focus on what could be. In my profession, I write about and think about colleges. So the book is all about envisioning a new HSI future. Thank you, I have a fan over here. I was gonna read y'all a long clip. Well, I could read you a little short. I'll read you a short piece so that you can get a glimpse of the vision I'm thinking about. I envision HSIs will become a common institutional type, kind of like HBCUs. Whenever I ask people, what's an HSI? People are like, I'm like, what's an HBCU? They're like, They know that. So when does it become a common institutional type? A place that's no longer questioned, where all people will interact with the campus will know it's an HSI. All students, all faculty, all staff, all administrators, all trustees, all donors, all people, they will all know and actively choose to be in an MSI, a minority serving institution. Presidents and chancellors and provosts and deans will be proud to lead these institutions and ensure that all employees have what they need to enact servingness, not as a fugitive act, but as an act of pride. I also envision a place where we listen to students, not superficially, but authentically, asking for their feedback on curriculum and course design, faculty representation, student services, community engagement, the campus environment, and everything that you interact with. Not through surveys that we never address, but through community circles and authentic pláticas. Students will know that they are valued and will bring their whole selves to campus. They will offer their community cultural wealth, their knowledge, their language, their gifts, and their talents to a campus that is responsive to them. Students will be proud of who they are when they arrive and be willing to grow and develop, seeking to understand themselves first before understanding others. This is just a glimpse of what I want to share with you as far as my vision. I have much more, but I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry. Si tienes ¿Hambre? Sí, okay. Vamos. Let me flip. Couple more. I honestly could keep going, but I think you get the point. I encourage you to imagine and reimagine a new world where we all have exactly what we need to thrive and find joy. What does that world look like to you? My final dichos I want to offer are motivated by my work as a fitness instructor. I've been a fitness instructor for 23 years, through 2 graduate degrees, 2 pregnancies, 2 major moves across the country, and I've also kept fitness at my center of my life. That's a lot. So dicho number 5 is work hard, but take breaks. And I teach that concept through a class called Grit. And it's actually a high intensity interval training class. And within that ideology, you're supposed to work really hard for short bursts and then take breaks. I don't know if any of y'all have ever taken a HIIT class, but it's my favorite class because short bursts and then break. Short bursts and then break. Our bodies aren't designed to work on overload all the time. But those overload moments matter. So focus on accomplishing your goals in those moments of overload. When it feels a little overwhelming, when it feels like you can't breathe, when it feels like you can't keep going. But then recover and rest, because rest is resistance. I've also learned from my years in yoga and from one of my favorite yoga instructors, Felicia Savage, to honor your transitions. And that is something I will leave you with today. Because you're transitioning to something new. Honor your transition means accepting and embracing the fact that transition takes time and energy. And it may not be pretty. Not all transitions between yoga poses is pretty. And they don't have to be. So honor this transition, regardless of what you will be doing next, and no matter how long it takes to find a job or a career or a new academic program or whatever it may be, honor your transition. Gracias y felicidades.
All right, I know we heard a lot of inspirational words, but now we're down to what we came for those stoles. We're gonna invite Danitza and Joanna up so we can read student names.
So now for the moment that we've all been waiting, the calling of the candidates.
¿Listos? Sí, listos. A empezar. Francisco Valdespino.
Katia Sandoval Mallorca. Katia Sandoval Mallorca.
Val Axtol. Sebastián del Castillo.
Bianca Ramírez.
Elizabeth Fuentes Luna.
Jacqueline Machado.
Carmen Guadalupe Martínez Pérez.
Jessica Alejandra Franco Osorio.
Raúl Fernando Tapia García.
Leslie Bautista Cruz.
Katia Cruz.
Maribel Corona.
Isabel López Hernández.
Elizabeth Valenzuela.
Daniel Hinojosa. Kay Napoli Dorantes. Carol Suárez Chávez. Silvia Castañeda. Naomi Fernández. José Favela. Yoreli Ceja. Yadira García. Kaylee Martínez. Samantha Love. Daphne Morfín. Brian Ramírez Díaz. Nora Rose Costello. Angie Bocanegra González. Sonia García Aguilar. Silvia Matías. Paola Julie Siliesar Cabrera. Noemi Martín Matías. Carla Mendoza. Melissa Navarro. Mariana Carvajal Melgar. Vianey Ortega. Emiliana Pablo. María de Los Ángeles García. Diana Bonilla. Noah Gallo. Citlali Vázquez Castillo. Mayra Medina. Jennifer González. Alejandro Arrellano. Infinity Gómez. Marvin Salguero. Marilyn Francisco. Zenaida Martínez.
Let's give it up one more time to all the graduates. And let's thank everybody here for coming out and supporting the graduates. Let's give yourselves a round of applause.
This was so beautiful to see everybody come out and celebrate their family members and accomplishments. Thank you all so much for coming.
We're gonna continue the celebration. Let's go over to the building H. We have food. We have we have non-alcoholic drinks.
We have live banda cumbia salsa. And now we're gonna ask for our Raíces committee to please come up. Please, everybody in the Raíces committee.
Let's bring it out. We spent 4 months organizing this, y'all.
Come on, Joanna, I see you. Everybody part of the Raíces committee. Huge shout out to Marcus, who's about to graduate from his master's program.
Yes, Marcus. Yes. High five, we did it. All right.
Just a quick reminder, because this is like a party. Please do not take the vases after. You're more than welcome to take the flowers in the H building. Do not take the vases. I'm looking at all the tías. Por favor, no pueden llevarse los centros de mesas. Pueden llevar los flores, pero no los floreros, por favor.
All right, let's go over there, y'all.
Okay, esperen. Okay, so, el edificio H está al otro lado del campus, a la mano derecha. Quiero agradecerles a todos, al comité, por la ayuda. Otro aplauso. Okay, y felicidades. Ok, si quieren, vayan por este lado, por las puertas, por favor. Van al otro lado del colegio y va a haber comida, va a haber pachanga. Ok.